we are now at stage 6, paragraph
Yay.
page 417. Okay, 417, and our last headword was just new word type of
Mm.
lesson. Okay, so let's start with our revision. Ready?
Okay.
Okay, here we go. First question. Tell me one very common way of forming adverbs from adjectives. Tell me one very common way of forming adverbs from adjectives, please. One very common
One
way
very common
of
way
forming
of
adverbs
forming
from
adverbs
adjectives
from
is by
adjectives
adding the
is by
letters
adding the
ly
letters
to the
ly
adjective.
to the adjectives.
Give me some examples. Give me some examples, please. Bad, badly.
Bad,
Quick,
badly,
quickly,
quickly,
etc.
etc.
What's the past of fly? What's the past of fly? The past of
The
fly
past of
is
fly
flew.
is flew.
If you flew round the world in a straight line, would you finish in the same place as you had started? If you flew round the world in a straight line, would you finish in the same place as you had started? Yes. If I
Yes,
flew
if I
round the
flew
world
round the
in a
world
straight line,
in the straight
I'd
line,
finish
I'd
in the same
finish
place
in the same
as
place
I had started.
as I had started.
Very good. If a bird flew into your room, what did you do? If a bird flew into your room, what did you do? If a bird flew,
If I bird flew
if a
into
bird flew
if a bird
into
flew
my room,
into my
I'd
room,
probably
I'd
try to catch
probably
it.
try to catch it.
Very good. Which animal do we get wool from? Which animal do we get wool from? We get wool
We get
from a
wool
sheep.
from a sheep.
What can we make from wool? What can we make from wool? We can make
We can make
pullovers,
we can make wool
pullovers, hats,
pullovers,
and
hats,
scarves
and
from
scarves.
wool.
It's from wool.
Very good. Okay, next. How do we form the possessive case of singular nouns like girl, man, child, etc.? How do we form the possessive case of singular nouns like girl, man, child, etc.? We form the
We
possessive
form a
case
possessive
of
case
singular
of a
nouns
singular
like
noun
girl,
like
man,
girl,
child,
man,
etc.
child,
by
etc.
adding an
by adding
apostrophe
an
and the
apostrophe
letter
and
S.
the letter S.
Give me some examples. Give me some examples, please. The girl's coat,
The girl's coat,
the old man's hat,
the old man's hat,
a child's book.
a child's book.
Very good. How do we form the possessive case of plural nouns that do not end in S, such as men, women, children, etc.? How do we form the possessive case of plural nouns that do not end in S, like such as man, women, children, etc.? We form the
We
possessive
form the
case
possessive
of plural
case
nouns
of plural
that do not
nouns
end
that
in
do not
S,
end in
such as
S,
men,
that,
women, such
that,
as men,
such as men,
women, and children
women, and gem
in the same way
in the same way
by adding an
by
apostrophe
adding a apostrophe
and the letter S.
and the letter S.
Give me some examples. Give me some examples, please. The old man's
The
hats,
old man's hat,
children's books,
children's books,
women's clothes.
women's clothes.
Very good. How do we form the possessive case of plural noun which already ends in S? How do we form the possessive case of plural nouns which already end in S? We form
We
the
form
possessive
the
case
possessive
of plural
case of
nouns
plural
which
nouns
already
which
ends in
already
S
ends in S
just by adding
just by
an
adding
apostrophe
an
but
apostrophe
no S.
but no S.
Give me some examples. Give me some examples, please. The girl's coat,
The girl's
the
coat,
worker's
the
clothes,
worker's clothes,
ladies' dresses.
ladies' dresses.
Very good. What do footballer shirts have written in their backs? What do footballer shirts have written on their backs? Footballer shirts
Footballers' shirts
have numbers
have numbers
written on their
written
backs.
on the backs.
Very good. Okay, what is he doing? What is he doing? He's kicking the
He's
ball.
kicking the ball.
Very good. Okay. Can the English coast be seen from the coast of France? Can the English coast be seen from the coast of France? Yes. On
Yes,
certain days,
on certain
the
days,
English coast
the English
can be
coast
seen
can be
from the
seen
coast of
from the
France.
coast of France.
Do you ever tire of speaking? Do you ever tire of speaking? Yes or no?
Yes.
I
I sometimes
sometimes tire of speaking.
tired of speaking.
Very good. What would you do if you saw someone taking something from a shop without paying? What would you do if you saw someone taking something from a shop without paying? If I saw
If
someone
I saw
taking
someone
something
taking
from a
something
shop
from a
without
shop
paying,
without paying,
I'd
I, I'd call the policeman.
very good. What do people normally do in situations like that? What do people normally do in situations like that? People normally
People
do
normally
nothing in
do nothing
situations
in
like that.
situations like that.
Do police officers often find themselves in dangerous situations? Do police officers often find themselves in dangerous situations? Yes,
Yes,
police officers
police
often
officers
find
often
themselves
find
in
themselves
dangerous
in
situations.
dangerous situations.
Very good. What do you suppose happen if there were suddenly no water in the world? What do you suppose to happen if there were suddenly no water in the world? I suppose
I
we'd
suppose
all die of
we'd all
thirst
die of thirst
if there were
if
suddenly
there were
no
suddenly
water in the
no
world.
water in the world.
If you only slept 2 hours tonight, how do you suppose you'd feel tomorrow morning? If you only slept 2 hours tonight, how do you suppose you'd feel tomorrow morning? If I only
If I
slept
only
2 hours
slept two
tonight,
hours
I
tonight,
suppose
I
I'd feel
suppose I'd
very
feel
tired
very
tomorrow
tired
morning.
tomorrow morning.
Supposing today were Sunday, where'd you be now? Supposing today were Sunday, where'd you be now? Supposing today were
Supposing
Sunday,
today was Sunday,
I'd be
I I'd be sleeping.
sleeping. Very good. Supposing you lost your passport, what would you do? Supposing you lost your passport, what would you do? Supposing I
Supposing
lost my
I
passport,
lost my passport,
I'd immediately
I'd
tell the
immediately
police.
tell the police.
Very good. Okay, next. Does it get hotter and hotter as we go towards the north of Europe? Does it get hotter and hotter as we go towards the north of Europe? No, it
No,
doesn't get
it
hotter
doesn't
and
get
hotter
hotter and
as we
hotter
go
as
towards
we go
the
towards
north of
the
Europe.
north of
It
Europe.
gets colder
It
and
gets
colder.
colder and colder.
Reggie, do people usually become richer and richer as they become older? Do people usually become richer and richer as they become older? Yes,
Yes,
people usually
people
become
usually
richer and
become
richer
richer and
as they
richer
become
as
older.
they become older
Why? Why? Because they
because
usually
they
earn
usually
more
earn
and more
more
money.
and more money.
Very good. Does good wine usually become cheaper and cheaper as it becomes older? Does good wine usually become cheaper and cheaper as they become older? No. Good
No,
wine
good
doesn't
wine
usually
doesn't
become
usually
cheaper
become
and cheaper
cheaper and
as
cheaper
it becomes
as
older.
it becomes older.
It usually becomes
It usually
more and
becomes
more expensive.
more and more expensive.
Very good. How long does it take you to get ready to go out in the morning? How long does it take you to get ready to go out in the morning? It takes me about
It takes me about 1 hour
to get ready
to
to
get
go
ready
out in the
to
morning.
go out in the morning.
Very good. When do you think you'll be ready to take the exam at the end of this book? When do you think you'll be ready to take the exam at the end of this book? I think I'll
I
be
think
ready
I'll be
to
ready
take the
to
exam
take the
at the
exam
end of this book
at the end of this
in
book
about
in about one
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 week
month,
time.
1 week time.
1 week time. Very good. Are you always ready to lend people money? Are you always ready to lend people money? Yes or no?
No,
I'm not always
I'm not
ready
always
to lend
ready
people
to
money.
lend people money.
Reggie, do you think most people are ready for marriage when they are 18 years old? Do you think most people are ready for marriage when they are 18 years old? Yes or no?
Yes,
I think most
I
people
think
are
most
ready
people
for
are
marriage
ready for
when they
marriage
are 18
when
years
they are
old.
18 years old.
Reggie, if the government of your country decided to build a new national sports stadium, whereabouts do you think it should be? If the government of your country decided to build a new national sports stadium, whereabouts do you think it should be? If the government of
If the
my
government
country
of my country
decided
decide,
to build
decided to
a
build
national
a
sports stadium,
national sport team
I think
stadium,
it should
I
be
think it should be in countryside.
in the countryside. Very good. Okay. Describe someone you know, please. Describe someone you know, please. I'll describe my
I
oh,
describe
my brother, mother,
my
father,
my bro- my brother.
my brother. Very good. He is tall
He is
or short.
he's tall and
He's
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 tall and he has black and short hair. Short and black hair.
short black hair. Very good. Okay, describe the place where you live. Describe the place where you live, please. The place where
The
I live
place where I live
is
is is snowing a lot.
snowing a lot and in
Snowing a
a
lot
city.
in the city.
Very good. What are you doing? What are you doing? I am describing the
I'm
place
describing the
where I
place
live.
where I live.
Very good. Do you think it's a good enough description? Do you think it's a good enough description? Yes or no?
Uh, no,
I don't
I
think
don't
it's a
think
good enough
it's a good
description.
enough description.
Very good. Is it correct to say the book was... Oh, so that's the end of our revision. Very good.
Okay,
Let's have new word. Okay, so repeat. Correct.
correct,
Incorrect.
incorrect.
Very good. Okay, listen. Correct is an adjective. It means having no mistakes. Correct also means right. For example, 2 plus 2 equals 4. It's right. It's correct. Incorrect is the opposite of correct. Incorrect also means wrong. For example, 4 plus 5 equals 11. It's wrong. It's incorrect. Okay, let's practice. Is it correct to say the book was writing by him? Is it correct to say the book was writing by him? No, it
No,
isn't correct
it
to
isn't
say
correct to say
the book was
the
writing by
book
him.
was writing by him.
We must say
We must
the book
say
was
the book
written by
was
him.
written by him.
Very good. Is it correct that 4 plus 5 equals 11? Is it correct that 4 plus 5 equals 11? No, it
No,
isn't
it
correct
isn't
that
correct
4 plus
that
5
4 plus 5
equals 11.
equals 11.
It's incorrect.
It's incorrect.
Very good. Okay, next repeat. As soon as.
As soon as
Over.
over.
Very good. Okay, listen. As soon as is a conjunction. As soon as means immediately after something happens without delay. For example, I sat down as soon as I came into the classroom. Over is an adjective. Over also means finished. For example, our lesson starts at 6:30 p.m. and finishes at 6:55 p.m. Okay, so at 6:55 the lesson is over. Okay, let's practice. What did you do as soon as you came into the classroom? What did you do as soon as you came into the classroom? I sat down.
I
As
sat
soon
down
as I
as soon
came
as
into
I
the
came
classroom.
into the classroom.
What'll you do as soon as the lesson is over? What'll you do as soon as the lesson is over? I'll stand up,
I'll stand
go
up,
home
go
as
home
soon as the
as
lesson
soon
is
as
over.
the lesson is over.
Very good. When you lend something like money, for example, do you prefer the other person to give it back on a certain date or just as soon as possible? When you lend something like money, for example, do you prefer the other person to give it back on a certain date or just as soon as possible? When I lend something
When I rent something
like money, for
like
example,
nanny, for
I
example,
prefer the
I'd
other
prefer
person
the other
to
person
give it back
to give it back as soon
and
to
as
give
soon
it
as
back
possible.
and as soon possible.
As soon as possible.
As soon as possible.
Very good. Next, repeat strange.
Strange.
Very good. Okay, listen. Strange is an adjective. Okay. So, strange means unusual or surprising, especially in a way that is difficult to explain or understand. Strange. For example, my friend wears thick clothes in summer. I think she's strange. Let's practice. Who's the strangest person you know? Who's the strangest person you know? The strangest
The
person I
strangest
know
person I
is
know is my colleague.
my colleague. Very good. Okay, next repeat. They.
They.
Very good. They also means he or she. Okay, listen. We sometimes use the word they, them, etc. to talk about just one person when we don't know if the person we are talking about is a man or a woman. So we use they. If we don't know if we will use he or she, we use they. For example, there is somebody in the next room. So there's somebody in the next room and they are making a lot of noise. I'm going to ask them to be quieter because we don't know if they're a man or a woman.
Mhm.
Okay, let's practice. When do we use the words they, them, etc. to talk about just one person? When do we use the words they, them, etc. to talk about just one person? We use
We
the
use
words
the
they,
words they,
them, etc.
them,
to
etc.
talk about
to talk
just one
about
person
just one
when we
person
don't know
when we don't
if the
know
person is a
if the
man
person
or
is a
woman.
man or a woman.
If someone lost their passport, what advice would you give them? If someone lost their passport, what advice would you give them? If someone
If
lost
someone
their passport,
lost their
I
passport,
tell them
I'd tell
that
them
they should
that they should
immediately go
immediately
to the police.
go to the police.
Very good. Next, repeat. Shut.
Stop.
Shut up.
Shut up.
Be quiet.
Be quiet.
Very good. Okay, listen. Shut is a verb. It means to close. For example, we can say, I close the book after I read it, or I shut the book after I read it. The verb to shut up means the same as to be quiet, but the word to shut up is a much less polite, and we generally use it when we are angry. Okay, let's practice. What verbs can we use instead of the verb to close? What verb can we use instead of the verb to close? We can use
We can
the
use
verb to
the
shut
verb to shut
instead of the
instead of
verb to
the
close.
verb to close.
Where if someone find if some friends were talking loudly while you were trying to study, what would you say? If some friends were talking loudly while you were trying to study, what would you say? If some
If
friends
some
were
friends
talking loudly
were talking
while
loudly
I was
while
trying
I
to
was
study,
trying to
I'd
study,
say,
I'd
could
say,
you be quiet,
could you
please?
be quiet, please?
Very good. And if they carried on talking loudly even after that, what might you then say? And if they carried on talking loudly even after that, what might you then say? If they carried
If
on
they carried
talking
on talking
loudly even
loudly,
after that,
even after that,
I might then say,
I might then say
shut up.
that shut up.
Okay,
Oh, sorry,
is there a person? Doorbell?
sorry. So
Okay, okay.
doorbell called me.
Okay, no
Sorry, wait a
problem.
minute, please.
Okay.